Sasquatch, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spearfinger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil Dog, Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, a Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee, Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet. Snarly Gastro Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry Wolfman or Wolf County, need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet.
Well, this here's Bigfeets, the only podcast that looks at mountain monsters through an uncritical lens of understanding and empathy. I'm Bigfoot's preferred Brockway, Robert.
And I'm TV Sean Baby from the internet.
And I'm Jason Pargin. I was told that I needed to dial in for a meeting to talk about how we were going to cancel the show because we were like, isn't every episode exactly the same? And then I get on here and it's like, all right, let's go, episode 5. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, we decided to just keep doing it forever.
Well, you're wily. It's tough to trap you. We're trying to learn strategy from Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack, and we baited you with nothing, which works every time.
I was blowing my Jason collar. Quack! Quack!
Had to dismiss my attorney from the call because we were going to talk about how I was to get out of the $250,000 advance you guys paid me to do this podcast about mountain monsters. It's like, well, no, the money's gone.
Yeah, and your attorney is in a net.
And you're looking at a yawning future of 9 fucking seasons.
Oh no, to be clear, they're going to make more episodes of this show before we catch up. This will be an unending thing.
I do have faith because I subscribed to the Mountain Monsters subreddit back when I used Reddit because it existed. And which it has like 2. I've seen like 2 people active on it. Like a post will appear and it's a good day if it gets a comment. But the post that appears is always, is there going to be more mountain monsters? And there's always a fight. Like, people are like, yes, I've seen leaked episodes. And other people are like, no, they're not renewed because of the merger with Max.
Plus, they defeated them all. They defeated all the monsters.
I love that it's real and not real exactly like mountain monsters. Yeah. It's like hunting mountain monsters is exactly like hunting a mountain monster. It's so fitting for them.
Okay, this is actually part of the context of us doing this show. Listeners, if you, for some reason, have stumbled on this, Mountain Monsters is on the Max app, that used to be HBO Max. And as some of you know, maybe if you don't keep up with media, you don't know this, but Max just merged with Discovery, whatever that corporation is, TLC. And so the Max app that used to be full of, Game of Thrones and Sopranos and all that, is that mixed with a gigantic ocean of this reality show junk. So while they have aggressively been canceling shows left and right, the stuff that I know for a fact is going to stay is this stuff because I can guarantee you Mountain Monsters is pure profit.
It might not be much, but it's profit.
The production, like if they showed them a balance sheet, the production cost versus what it earned, it literally is like 100,000 times more profitable than that Rings of Power show on Amazon Prime, where they spent like $2 billion to film the first season and nobody cared about it. Like they would renew Mountain Monsters in a second rather than have to invest in something like that again.
And that's part of our mission statement, is to make sure that happens. We're going to spread the word and hopefully get 20 seasons in a movie. That's our slogan. We're bringing this one back. Now, before we dig into it, do we want to do some plugs? Jason?
Yes, my next novel comes out in October. It is called Zoe is Too Drunk for This Dystopia. It is a sci-fi novel in the Zoe Ash series. The first two are out there. Just Google that name or my name. It's up for pre-order in all formats, audio, all of them, printed. What's the other one? Ebook. Those three, I guess, are the only ones.
And Sean, what are you at?
1-900 Hot Dog. It's the greatest and last comedy website run by me and Robert Brockway. All-star cast of writers. Text and pictures. High density, high effort jokes. Yeah, that's the plug. We have a Patreon.
Yeah, it's a great plug. It's a business model that stopped existing for reasons we don't understand and therefore we will not listen to. I'd like to plug the Dog Zone 9000. That's the podcast me and Sean do. Jason features on sometimes, which is just about finding cursed media that should not exist. We get all the best, funnest people, and sometimes torture them a little bit, but mostly it's fun. Fun and jokes, and never anything serious. Not ever. I don't think we're even capable of it. I think we could bring a serious topic and it would end up incredibly goofy.
Yeah, that's true. We did 3 or 4 episodes on murder and it was still pretty silly.
Yeah, we have proven that thesis. We did. God, what was that? Was that a 5-part episode
Might have been 5,
on a reality show where one of the contestants murdered somebody, and then we made it a fun mystery game where I tried to pick the murderer just based on how creepy he was on the show.
That was a miracle.
And I almost got him.
Yeah, because Brockway had never seen Megan Wants a Millionaire, and that was a show that famously got canceled because one of the contestants turned out to be a murderer. And so we watched the old episodes, including a few that weren't on TV, and had to make Brockway guess the murderer. And he almost got it. He had it down to 2. And I bet the one you guessed was really... He's no innocent man. He's done something.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing
trunk.
we discovered doing that show was that it wasn't about picking a murderer because they were all murderers.
Yeah.
It was about picking the right murderer.
Exactly.
And that was the
And you were
challenge.
close.
So I definitely picked a murderer. Just I didn't quite get it right. I was down to the last 2 though. So if you want to check it out, that's a good point to jump into it. The Megan Wants a Murderer series.
Somewhat.
Point to jump into it.
This show and that podcast is that occasionally Sean will briefly mention something about his childhood that will always make you instantly want to know more, and you won't. He will just casually mention something insane that happened referencing his parents or his upbringing, and then he'll just move on to blood sport again, and you will be left with many questions like that. Something like that happened in the previous episode of this show. Doesn't matter. No, you move on.
He's not going to win.
It's true.
Okay, we are talking, as previously said, we're talking about Mountain Monsters. It's like a hillbilly monster hunting reality show on just nothing, on a whatever they find in their pockets budget. They hunt all sorts of creatures, mostly Bigfeets. Our cast is Trapper, that's the leader. Huckleberry is Bigfoot security. Buck is really going through a tough time trying to find himself right now. He's still called the Rookie. He wants to be the Collar. He refers to himself as a husky ninja. Jeff is our hillbilly research scientist and often the butt of hillbilly intellectual jokes, like the time he said bipedal. Son of a bitch. Never let him live that down.
Book learning son of
Willie?
a bitch.
Fucking, you been down to the library holler again, Jeff? Willie is our trapper, not trapper. Trapper has no role. He's the leader. Wild Bill is our tracker, but no, he's not. He's there just to win our hearts. It's
He's
his
literally
job.
never tracked
And
anything, as far as I can tell.
They often find tracks, and Wild Bill is the last person. He's often not even in the scene.
Yeah.
It's how much they thought that through. We're watching Mountain Monsters Season 1, Episode 5. My favorite episode so far, Mothman of Mason County.
This episode
God, it's so
makes
good.
the first 4 episodes look like a big pile of dog turds.
It's so
This-
good. They found themselves.
This is spectacular. Now, the Mothman, would you say he's probably the 3rd most famous cryptid after the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot? Like, if people had to name a 3rd, like some people would say Chupacabra or Yeti or whatever, but I think Mothman is...
Like by name?
yeah.
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 But
He's
like
with
it's
Chupacabra
the
and
most
him,
famous
I
of
think.
the of the ones they've taken on.
Now, this especially falls into the trap that you've been talking about, which is this the creature, like a species of creature, or is this one guy? I would argue, I think this one settles pretty firmly on one guy.
Yeah,
this is
him.
Jerry Mothman, and we're gonna fucking kill him. I think is the point of this.
Yeah.
So we start with the traditional Trapper's truck team building meeting. Trapper says, "We looking for a large winged creature, maybe as much as 12 foot, bat-like wings." And Buck says, "Oh, everybody knows what that is." Yeah. And it seems like he has left a little spot for them all to join in, but they do not. And then he fills in himself, Mothman.
Yeah, I love there's no drama or beat. He's like, 12 foot tall, 12 foot wingspan. We know who you're talking about, Mothman. You're like, you gotta let it breathe, Buck.
We cut to CGI of the Mothman, and I swear to God, this is assets from Resident Evil. Like, I know that skin texture, right? That's the zombie skin texture they're using.
This is Resident Evil 1 mod.
By the way, listeners, if you're not actually watching Mountain Monsters along with us, and why would you not? When we say they cut to a CGI, this is not animated. It's always just like T-posing.
Yeah.
And like a flat background. So it's like a posing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. I think you said that early, and that's precisely what it is. It's the collectible you get for beating mountain monsters on hard without dying. You get the little collectible to look at it in your gallery and scroll around him and be disappointed by. Like, oh, that's what he looks like. However, let's get us a thick cryptid thigh check. How them thighs looking? Right? They're looking
so
good.
Luscious. Yeah.
They're momentous. Like, Mothman fucking squats 500 pounds. Mothman buys athletic jeans. And, like, not as an ego thing. He needs that extra room.
They are real bulgy. They're not like Bigfoot
we
bulgy.
didn't get to see it so much with the Wampus Beast. But here, Mothman is just... he's curvy. Jeff says Mothman is 7 to 8 feet tall, 500 to 600 pounds, 10-foot wingspan, hangs out under bridges, often when disasters happen.
Okay. So, by the way, the 500 to 600 pounds, identical to the Wampus Beast last week. So
I was going to
when
say,
he's improvising, he accidentally, because maybe they didn't shoot these in order, but accidentally made Mothman exactly the same mass as the Wampus Beast, the completely differently shaped. Anyway.
It's weird how they never, ever hunt a monster that's like 40 pounds. Just like nobody's ever seen it before. It's crazy. It's got real big claws or something. 40 pounds. Nope. No. Nope, he's 10 feet tall.
No reason why Mothman, as ever depicted, would be 600 pounds. I've never seen a depiction. It's always like a man-sized thing with moth
wouldn't
wings.
Make any sense.
They said he's 7 to 8 feet tall. We know what that looks like given his body. We know that would be like 300 something pounds.
Yeah.
He's like there are people
he's a shack.
that are like that.
He's a shack with 10-foot wings.
He's a shack. Just like Shaq, he hangs out under bridges often when disasters happen.
Only he would have to have anatomy that would allow him to fly, so he would have to be lighter. Like birds are not chunky. They're
he's a Yao
pounds capable of flight.
A minute bowl, if you will.
His wings would have to be a quarter mile long.
So here's where we have to establish there is a real Mothman lore. They have like a statue of Mothman in that town. It's It's Mason County, Virginia. I don't know the exact town, but they have the little. But it was infamously cited before a collapse of a bridge.
Silver Bridge accident.
And so somehow it became like, well, the Mothman like portends disaster. The Mountain Monster crew, the Ames team, has instantly decided that they're there to get revenge for the bridge collapse, and have decided that the Mothman collapses bridges as a thing, and that he hangs around bridges. Like there's gonna be like, well, which bridge is he going to turn up on this time? To be clear, that is not part of the Mothman lore that he is a bridge pervert.
Hangs out under bridges. They specifically say those words. Hangs out under bridges, waiting for school to get out.
Part of the charm for me is that they establish patterns with just one thing. They're like, well, we know one thing about him. He was near a bridge once. So that means, and then they just, whatever that was, is what he does every time. And I just...
Bridge-based lore is my favorite part
childlike.
of Mothman. Because you're right. Like, The Silver Bridge accident happened in 1967. It killed like 40 some odd people, and that somebody spotted Mothman before that. But then there have been several other sightings, according to, this lore, whatever the lore comes from. They're like, somebody saw him before 9/11. Somebody, like, it's just any disaster. It's a one time in this one place that he was by a bridge, and now he is a bridge-based creature. He likes to hang out on bridges. He collapsed bridges. We're also going to use a bridge to catch him.
Yeah, so. We're spoiling too much of the episode because they're going to keep improvising lore on this thing, and they're going to take it so far off the rails. It is spectacular.
All bridge based. It's like when you say you like when you're 6 years old and you're like, I like pigs, and then for the rest of your life your grandma gets you pigs. You're like, just fucking. I was at a bridge one time. One time there was a bridge. They explain this in adorable terms. They say Mothman is famous because of the bridge silver accident. So he's famous, like amongst cryptids. He's a celebrity. Trapper says the Mothman seems to have mystic powers. What he does is he hypnotizes people. He can fly. He causes disasters. So, gonna be a tough one.
I like how Huckleberry worries that like by this logic, like something bad's going to happen to them. He's like, oh, if he means impending doom, then all these sightings might be bad news for us as the people near the impending doom monster.
And it would if you followed the lore, but Trapper's just like, nah. And Huckleberry says, you're right, nothing to worry about. I'm going to put it in a big bag, shake it up, and figure it out.
And to be clear, this is so important because the first 4 episodes of the series, these were just creatures. Like, they were just flesh and blood, rare animals that they could be caught. And suddenly they're going up against a thing that can cause 9/11 with its mystical powers. Like, it's some sort of a demigod. It's like, gonna be a tough one. It's like, what did you bring? You brought your shotguns and some.
I love And what standards are they using? Like, because last episode they made a bad net, and a panther got out of the net instantly, and then they hung around in the area while it was still nearby and said, "Well, he's a coward." Like, that's their experience with monsters, and here they are, with like fucking Gozer the Gozerian. I don't know. I just don't think they're ready for it.
It's wonderful how they haven't figured out that the one commonality across all of these episodes is that they're bad at this. Like, all of them escaped the traps immediately. They one time it worked. They caught somebody's dog. Like, it never. So what's the common factor? Is it we suck at building traps? No, that can't be it. I also love the little tiny twist of, like, you misunderstand one small thing. Like, you just misphrase it and everything changes. In this case, it's the Mothman is around disasters, and then when they say he causes the disasters, that means, like, the traditional lore is he's just like an omen of doom. Like, he's there because something is going to happen. He has nothing to do with it. But now by saying that and by having this other famous Mothman sighting before 9/11, you are now saying, Trapper has officially said, Mothman caused 9/11. Within this universe, that is what is true. So but they're going to put him in a big bag, shake it up, and figure it out.
Maybe he's a disaster. So hard. Maybe. Could be. What?
I was hoping so hard that was Huckleberry's, like, that was going to be the trap, is that they put him in a big bag and shake it up. Not to be. So their first meeting is with a man named Crash. So we're back to this. We met a lot of normal named people, but now we're meeting a guy named Crash. His identifiable headgear is he's in a tightly rolled American flag headband. He's got some John Lennon sunglasses, but he heard that he had to wear identifiable headgear, and he just didn't know when to stop. So he also has a bunch of claws and bones in his ear, and he's also wearing his own car key as an earring, perhaps to make sure he never loses it. It was
smart.
A lovely detail I will appreciate forever.
The crew 100% dressed this guy.
I see we've got piercings.
I guess we didn't mention in the previous episode, because in that episode when they interviewed the cattle rancher, he had like a camouflage do-rag, because we established in previous episodes the witnesses always have to have some sort of distinctive headwear for unknown reasons, I guess, just so you can help remember who's
because
who.
they're white men of a certain age is every single witness, so like it looks like fucking figuring somebody out in Game of Thrones. You're like, oh, is that the John of... No, I don't know who that is.
This guy looks like like a mean-spirited person trying to dress up like a Vietnam veteran at a costume party. Like he looks really uncomfortable and awkward. Like these are not his clothes, and he's sort of regretting what he's chosen to do.
It is very much like I found all the pieces for my John Cougar Mellencamp costume at the Goodwill, and not like the Goodwill.
Right.
I got to put a car key up there. I don't know. He was into that. So what Crash did was he saw Mothman standing on some power lines, and what he says is, just staring at me like I was interrupting him or something. Mothman thought he was rude for staring. And Trapper does something fucking crazy here. He tells Crash to his face, a sandhill crane has been mistaken for the Mothman. Even a barn owl. Man. To which Crash says, I know what birds look like.
Right. I mean, in the country, that's like, you'd shoot a man dead. If you're saying, hey, I saw Mothman, like, are you sure you didn't see a barn owl? Like, oh, you son of a bitch.
He sounds offended, doesn't he? Like
rightfully so. That. How dare he?
Fucking what the fuck are you doing, He's Mothman-splaining to Crash. You never Mothman-splain to Crash. He'll fucking kill you. However, he does say it had a wingspan of 8 feet, so this is a little mini Mothman.
You sure you ain't see Jeff Moth? He is a man.
He is a man. He does fly, but he's a good guy.
Nonsense.
Most notably, he does have glowing evil eyes that hypnotize you, much like the Sandhill Crane, I guess.
Now, some listeners are saying, well, now hold on. Now, that's the whole time. Didn't the Wampus Beast last episode also have glowing red eyes? Uh-huh. I think every creature has had glowing red eyes so far. Aren't they putting that into every single little...
They don't do it on every single creature for the rest of the show, but I think you're right so far. Maybe not the Grassman. I don't know that they specified that for the Grassman, but everything has glowing red evil eyes because they're children telling a campfire story. It's like the first thing they think of.
Well, the whole issue is that otherwise the question is, if you just saw like a shape in the woods of a large cat, it's like, well, how do you know it wasn't just a large cat? And it's like, well, it's the glowing red eyes that identified as the Wampus Beast. So here, it's like, well, how do you know it wasn't just a guy standing under there? It's like, no, those eyes, the hypnotic red eyes.
Mm-hmm. We need a bus driver to jump in and say, I know he was evil! So Crash takes them to the power lines where he saw them, and Buck says, somehow electric was playing a role in where this thing was seen at.
I put that in my notes too.
Here
like he's a fucking detective.
Is where the episode starts to become magic. Because again, this is not Mothman lore. Where the witness is going to say that he was moving around like he was dancing, like the electricity was charging him up.
Yes! And then that very quickly gets ad-libbed into teleportation.
Yes.
And now he can teleport. So he dances electricity out of the power lines because he's an electric Mothman. And he can teleport short distances. I love it.
I saw him move, but never saw him move. He was teleporting, is what they said. So now I want you to understand, we are 6 minutes into the episode. The Mothman so far weighs 500 or 600 pounds, so abnormally big. He can fly, can hypnotize you with his eyes. They mentioned that briefly in the intro, but did not go into detail yet. Mm-hmm. He now can be charged by electricity.
Clause 9/11.
He caused 9/11, is a bridge pervert, and also can teleport.
Can teleport. They're yes-anding him to death. He's just going to be a Cronenbergian monster by the end, just a fleshless fucking flailing blob.
And after all of this, wonderful. After what has to be the most insane list of things ever, Jeff, the Bigfoot researcher, says Crash's experience was very credible.
Which is what I say every time I find something very credible.
That maniac we met by the side of the road, dressed in trash. He told us about the teleporting Mothman.
Crash's experience was very credible. So now it's time now it's time for the night hunt. And they roll out in their golf carts to this open field beneath the power line. Again, just, right off the road, as everything they do is.
Also, some listeners are saying, why did they wait till night to hunt it? Didn't that guy see it in broad daylight? Again, just every episode with Mountain Monsters just happens. All of the witnesses saw it during the day. They will immediately declare the creature to be nocturnal. For example, in the previous episode, the Wampus Beast, 100% of the sightings were during the day. For all they know, it hibernates at night. Like it goes off into a cave and just sleeps through the night. And instead it's like, no, it moves with the shadows. It can see with perfect night vision. That was never established. For some reason, it's the format of the show. The hunts happen at night. I don't know why, other than maybe, I don't know, so they don't have to show the creature. But they never take that,
I think you got
that
it.
extra one line of explanation of somebody saying, oh, yeah, about midnight. I think everybody around here is only seeing her at night. That's all it would take. They never do it.
Yeah.
So we're hunting the Mothman. Jeff, in a fun little ad, we're not done adding things to Mothman. Jeff says, now from the reports, this thing seems to consume electricity.
Yes.
So now he dances and charges up, but he also eats it. He eats electricity.
That's how he powers the teleportation.
It's how of course, it all makes sense. Trapper and Jeff watch the others go by on thermal. I think it's Huckleberry and Buck.
Mm-hmm.
And the entire time they are giggling at Buck's waddle on thermal and how goofy it looks. They're not wrong. It's very goofy. But Jeff is easily the same size as Buck. And Trapper's not far off.
Yeah. Nor is Huckleberry.
It seems...
But something about Buck,
Nor is Huckleberry.
He's kind of like a Snorlax. He has to wobble back and forth on those feet attached far up on the sides of his sphere shape.
I didn't expect you to call him this.
The sides of his sphere shape. If if Buck sits down in the road, that's it. You just can't get to that section of the game until you wake him up. But
God damn it. We have to cut all this. They see Trapper sees, oh my god, a man-shaped thermal image, distinctly without wings next to them. And Trapper calls out, Buck, oh my god, Buck, there's a thermal image right behind you. And Buck spins to look at a thermal image as far as he is concerned. And he very chill says, oh, let's check it out. He's not, either they weren't filming those scenes at the same time so that he could react to Trapper, or he just did not get the vibe, because Trapper's playing, you're going to be murdered, the Mothman's right there, and Buck is like, oh, look, there's a new Chili's, let's go try that one.
I just wrote down that I'm confused. They called him back with some sort of an urgency, but there was no Mothman on the thermals. And so... Yeah,
Huckleberry starts to get it and says, we gotta back out of here, and then Buck just kind of turns around and walks away.
I think there was a miscommunication in the improv there. I think he decided to improvise, I can see a Mothman in the thermals.
Right.
But they didn't play along, or they decided it wasn't time for it or something. But there was clearly it's a weird moment. It's like they tried to do something because obviously, maybe I shouldn't even have to say this. If they were out there doing that and then you saw a man-shaped figure in the thermals, you're all out there with shotguns. Your first thought would be, oh, somebody's come across our hunt. Let's warn him away that we're hunting Mothman. You would not assume Mothman. You would assume
because he doesn't have wings and he's walking.
You don't even know if Mothman shows up on thermal. It's a magical creature that can teleport. You would just assume, oh, there's a guy. Let's make sure he stays clear of our guns in case we have to open fire on Mothman.
They never had that thought in their lives.
Because they always, within minutes, are instantly either attacked by the creature or they stumble across its footprints within minutes of exiting their golf cart.
So here's how that scene ends. Everybody's very confused. Huckleberry and Buck kind of jog back, and Trapper's still hysteric. It's like, did you see him? Did you see anything? And Buck says, no. End of scene. They start to leave. They start to walk around, and ominous musical sting. Buck turns around, and there are glowing eyes in the darkness. They're not red because it's black and white. Our night vision cam. They look a lot like bike reflectors, but could they be in the woods? Why would they be in the woods? Huh? And here's where see, here's where they really start stepping it up for me. Here's where they escalate stakes in the series. Because before, there's been kind of a keep it off camera kind of vibe. And this is like their first real solid, look at that. That's the Mothman in the shot with us as we're filming it live. We are seeing the Mothman. And he turns around and goes, I don't know. I saw 2 red glowing things. Like, he's been in on the discussions where the Mothman has red eyes. He's on a Mothman hunt, and he is mystified at what those red glowing things could be. What could that? That's weird. And Trapper says, "Buck, you're white as a sheet." And Buck feels like Buck is not wanting to play that role anymore, and he says, "Just no, I'm cool.
I'm fine.
Like, I love it. I love it actually being hypnotized by the Mothman. What are you talking about?" But then they obviously have a little discussion and decide that no, Buck should pass out suddenly and eat shit into the dirt. Now, I know, like, it's meant to be dramatic. We're going to make fun of it. He nearly died in 2 inches of water in one of these. So having him do a stunt fall, and that was him, is it's pretty reckless. I would say it's irresponsible.
We almost lost this. Yeah.
I feel like maybe Jeff is the only guy that could stunt double for Buck. What happens next is they take Buck's bandana off to give his head some air, and they were right to keep that bandana on because he just completely disappears from the episode. I'm like, who the fuck is that? What happened? He disappears. There's no other distinguishing feature of Buck to like pick him out of a lineup. So Trapper now says, now it's double personal. Trapper says, well, now it's time to go after the Mothman. This time it's personal. Motherfucker, you were on a Mothman hunt.
Yes.
Right now.
But this
happened on the Mothman hunt.
I love
and
that.
I guess something else maybe I shouldn't even have to say, but if you're walking in the woods and Buck becomes lightheaded and falls over, there's a lot of things that could potentially have caused that other than a Mothman.
I think Mothman makes top 50, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's up there.
Like maybe you should get him to a doctor. Maybe you should take him into town and get him checked out if that actually happened, because it could be anything from. Look, not just specifically Buck. Lots of Americans struggle with their physical health.
Right.
There could be low blood sugar, blood pressure, any number of things, lifestyle.
It is like the number 3 reason to get in better shape is Mothman hunting.
You bring up an important point because, like, this is Mothman country. So would the doctors in the area have a way to test for Mothman attack? Because he just looked and saw Mothman, and like now he's like physically almost dead. So like
he's Mothman poison,
right? Would they diagnose him with Lyme disease? And he's like, no, I saw Mothman, and like I don't know. I feel like I would have liked them to establish that. Just go to one doctor, talk to him about how often he gets a Mothman case. I feel like that would help a lot to understand the stakes.
There's a lot of missed opportunities to cement this as a world, but no, that's good enough. We cut away to Wild Bill and Willie's Crackhead Trap Shack. It's in the daytime now. Willie starts this off by saying, normally I design my traps for sturdiness and to hold a creature, but this time's totally different. So like, I'm going to design it like shit this time. So Wild Bill is worried about Mothman's teleportation and how you can catch a teleporting Mothman. Rightfully so. And Willie says the craziest shit I may have ever heard. He says, so what I got here is a cage that I can electrify, which he can't teleport through electricity. You know basically how a bug zapper works. This is the largest bug zapper you ever seen. And there's so much here to talk about.
Probably, I think like the best dialogue I had heard in a TV show prior to now was probably in the episode of Mad Men where Don Draper gives the presentation on the carousel slideshow projector, and he's talking about like nostalgia and like the pain of wanting to return to a point in the past, but you can't because it's the one thing you can't have. I think that is number 2 behind Willie. Willie, the sheer number of assumptions that Willie packs into that one sentence is astonishing.
We got to go through it.
Linguists could study this for years. Repeat the exact line again. I'm sorry. I need you to say it again.
So what I got here is a cage that I can electrify, which he can't teleport through electricity. You know basically how a bug zapper works. This is the largest bug zapper you ever seen.
Yeah. So Aristotelian logic,
So,
this would be if A and B and C and D and E and F, then G.
why do you know that about Mothman? First of all, that's an important
What
question.
they know is that he eats electricity. They know specifically this
Yes.
won't work.
Yes.
This is the
Why would his weakness be his food? Is another important one. Because maybe he didn't hear Jeff say he eats electricity. Perhaps most importantly is the implication here that bugs can teleport? That Willie thinks maybe bugs teleport? Because he left that a little open-ended. You know how a bug zapper works. It stops bugs from
and then, of
teleporting.
course, that you can't teleport through, not through an electric field. He's not building an electric field. You have some wire that would be electrified. So if you touched it, it would create a circuit through you. But why would that stop you from teleporting? Like the assumption
I have a really
that
important thing I want to add.
I'm
They
sorry, go
say,
ahead.
I think it might have been Wild Bill. He says that if he touches the side of the cage, it'll barbecue. It'll be barbecue, I think is how he puts it. But like,
Yeah.
we have no reason to assume that Mothman will not touch the side of the cage. So this will kill Mothman. Why bother with the cage? Why not set it up so just a gun shoots Mothman when he steps on the trap? He's going to die instantly
We also...
the second he gets trapped in this barbecue cage that he can't teleport through.
We've also established of like the number 4 thing we know about Mothman thanks to this improv is that he dances around on high tension electricity wires. So no, it won't kill him. It will make him dance.
That's where he gets
This
his
will be-
superpowers.
We're putting Mothman in a go-go cage. We're gonna make him dance for our entertainment.
But Willie not only, again, they just, the evidence that Mothman teleports is this man saying he thought he saw him move from place to place and didn't see how. Willie has extrapolated the exact 4th dimensional wormhole mechanism by which Mothman can defy the laws of the universe as we understand them at a quantum level. He's already figured this out and has built a trap that is going to be a metal chain link cage that's got a portable Honda generator clamped to it.
And he knows that much like water beats fire in a Pokemon game, electricity beats quantum. Like it's just all of this is said before he even opens his mouth, and he's just relaying the thought that comes after that. And then you have to put together the wild fucking series of sleeps and assumptions that he has made.
And yet,
It's just
from here on out, it has now been improv that electricity kills the Mothman after the witness told them electricity is his food.
like surely there's if you had this full scene before they cut away, Wild Bill goes, no, that can't be right.
In a way, that's true, because it will be SpaghettiOs that kills bugs. I mean, that's just...
So they're gonna give Mothman electric diabetes. That's what they're gonna do.
Speaking of eating, Wild Bill wants to eat the Mothman.
Wild Bill, I have the quote. He says, "You ever hear anybody eating an old moth? Good evening, bro. Once we got him fried up in here, plan on having some moth wings. Once we get the old Mothman in here."
Willie is like, no, what? No. What?
I'm going to eat the Mothman.
A sentence that he begins, "You ever hear anybody eating an old moth?"
No, Bill.
Ever hear anybody eating an old moth?
I don't think even on Fear Factor someone
no.
ever ate a moth. I don't think you can eat a moth.
An old moth? Good, and he's sure. Good eating, bro. So the implication is also, I think he's trying to stack as many meanings into a sentence as Willie just did, because now
Yes.
you're like, wait, no, we need to unpack what you just, because that means you ate a moth, like at some
He
point,
saw the
and now
power
you're
of
looking
that.
forward to frying a moth and eating moth wings, especially.
Yum.
That's fucked up, man. I don't know. That's a fucked up thing to
I
say.
think he watched-
Willie ends the scene by staring straight into the camera and saying, "I know the Mothman can teleport, but he can't teleport through electricity." And
They're like, didn't think we got it. They're like, I think I might have made it
Just to
too
reiterate.
complicated. Let me dumb it down for the viewers.
And that's a quote a human being has said. You could say that back to him and say, you said this.
I do love how they do go to commercial break and then he comes back and explains it again, which I thought was really funny. Like, I feel like in the heat of the moment and the ad-libbing, like, it'll come out, right? But the fact that he's saying it for the third time, I feel like at this point it should sound stupid to him, right?
Like, I think you got to say it so much that it doesn't sound stupid.
Yeah,
I think that's why they do the constant recapping. Is that if they just bombard you with no, that's true, that's cool, and then you're like, oh, all right, enough times. That's happened. We're back with Buck after a commercial. Buck is falling asleep sitting up in the golf cart, in the forest golf cart. And everybody instantly knows, well, that's the Mothman's gaze that did it. That's the only reason Buck would be sick.
You look at Mothman once from very far away at night, and you're just useless for days.
No other explanation. Jeff is really worried about it, but then they kind of drop it. They head out to another field by a road. You can see the truck in the background in this one, and meet up with Mark, who will not let them in his house, as is wise of Mark. He saw the Mothman on top of an old bridge. And what Mark says is, I told my buddies about it, and they said... something about a Mothman?
Okay.
Like, he's lived here all his life. It's never occurred to him before it could have been a Mothman.
I have something.
I love that's...
Early in the scene, he says he saw him out by the woods. And they cut to Jeff writing down in his notebook. And that motherfucker writes down woods in the notebook.
It's just one word per page. Woods. Woods, big, next page, foot.
Oh. And you're right.
This interview with the witness is weird because it's one where they all decide they don't believe him, right?
Yes. But for very different reasons.
Yes. Well, Trapper first says, after he hears that, he says, I'm excited this took place on a bridge because that's the Mothman's portfolio.
He's a bridge pervert.
That's his portmanteau chapter.
And he's got a portfolio of tasteful shots of himself under bridges.
Okay, so this
he can use to get
fucking
rolls.
guy's like, I heard stories about winged creatures around here. My buddy said, what's this? Something about a Mothman? Now,
a Mothman?
Are we meant to
That can't
believe
be
this
right.
maniac knows the phone number of local monster hunters, and he's heard tales of winged creatures. He buys dry goods next to a Mothman statue and has never heard of him.
I was going to say, there's a Mothman statue in the middle of your town. It's ridiculous for this improv to take
and
this
so
track.
I feel like they know
But
that this guy comes off like a liar, so they couldn't believe him.
Yeah, the improv takes a turn here, and now nobody believes him based on kind of nothing. Buck says, that bridge is too old. It couldn't hold somebody Mothman's size. And Mark doesn't have a lot of details or facts. He was very vague as opposed to everybody else you fucking talked to in the woods. So he's playing the skeptic, and then Jeff joins him and says, some of the things Mark's been saying just couldn't be true. That bridge wasn't the right height. Which, what? It wasn't the right height for Mothman? And then he insists Mark has seen an owl. Like he knows
he's just bad at identifying
what has happened
owls.
now.
He has seen a 10-foot tall owl.
He saw a 10-foot tall. The Mothman, he likes 27-foot or higher bridges only.
Yeah.
He's very
Huckleberry's
picky.
point is that this old bridge would never hold a Mothman. Like, Mothman is 500, 600 pounds. This bridge couldn't hold that.
By the way...
And Buck answers that by making a joke about the Silver Bridge collapse, which feels bold in this territory.
I agree. The thing I said never came up. The thing about how, why is this fucking guy pretending not to know who Mothman is? Like, that's the part I'm credulous about.
So they do the best thing in the answer to this very strange scene. They leave Mark and find a different witness. Just that's where the scene goes. They're like, hey, fuck you, Mark. And then they replace him with somebody and we see it live.
But they keep that Mark footage.
They meet up.
They did not plan on having the time to get a whole new witness.
So they meet up with somebody else, also in a field off of a road. That's the only place witnesses are found. Jeremy got video of this thing. It's the blurriest video we've seen yet, and there might be bike reflectors somewhere in it. They are all over the fucking moon. However much they disbelieved and hated Mark, they believe and love Jeremy for whatever this is. Because he's cool. He's cool as shit. He rides up. He's not even there at the time. They're waiting in that field. And he skids up on an ATV in a camo tank top. And he's like, hey, I'm fucking Woods Fonzie. And I've seen the wild. I've got video of the Mothman. Trapper asks, how in the world did you get this video? And Jeremy says, you won't believe this. I had my phone on me.
I love this. It's just, why ask that question? And you'd feel like an asshole answering it. Like, it's going to sound like I'm making fun of you, but I took my phone out of my pocket and I pointed the fucking phone at the thing happening. You dumbass.
This is
Dumb fucking asshole.
so well past the era when we all have
Right.
phones all the time. Like, to be clear. This is like iPhone 4 or something that we're on. And it's like, yeah, I got my phone on me. And that's where that scene goes. So Trapper decides this is the place.
Right.
This is where they're going after him. And then Huckleberry says something else wild. We owe him one for Buck.
It's another vengeance killing. Now, hold on.
We've justified our vengeance against
this
Mothman.
video was nothing. Like, they showed nothing.
It was nothing.
Like, this is... Are they trying to convince us that we're seeing the Mothman through just sheer bravado? Just, like, looking straight into the camera and doing an Emperor's New Clothes on us? Because there's fucking nothing on that video.
Yes.
They could not figure out how to do a Mothman shape that wasn't just stupid. Like in previous episodes, they've able to get like some sort of a man shape, like
Right.
a Bigfoot. Like who cares? It's just a guy
Sure.
kind of slumped over. There you go. There's your Bigfoot. I don't think they figured out how they could do any kind of a Mothman silhouette that wasn't just
Yeah.
laughable. That would just lose the suspension of disbelief that is so precious to keeping this show going.
We taped a Mothman cardboard cutout to the top of the Forest golf cart and drove it around, and it did not play well with audiences. We focused.
Biz. I'm not an owl.
So
I
Willie,
am not an owl.
I actually had it in my notes here. I understand they don't have the budget to fabricate like great witness video. This one depressed me.
Yeah.
It's nothing, and there's might be like a white spot, but they're all like they have to pretend at this point in the show it's too late. Like Mark fucked up. Mark fucked all of them up. They have to pretend like this is enough.
Now, what'd you call him again? Woods? You called him something, but I only wrote in my notes Woods.
So the issue is in production show, they found an old bridge where they wanted to shoot around, right? Like they did whatever location scouting they do. They found an old bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like a working bridge. Like that's the whole thing. It's like an abandoned bridge somewhere that's not in use anymore where they could set up their traps. So they had to arrange this guy to have seen Mothman on this bridge. And to establish, the quote from somebody is, well, 90% of these sightings are on these old bridges. Which is not true. Even among the people they spoke to. One guy's like, nah, he's just hanging around power lines. Power lines are his food. Like, I don't know that anybody they've talked to is just like, I was driving over the 57th Street Bridge, and I saw him hanging off the girders, jerking off.
He's a bridge pervert.
He's a bridge pervert.
Yeah, he said it was for his portfolio, but I didn't
like
believe
they never invent some sort of a reason like, well, the theory is a Mothman nests under these bridges, that there's,
Right.
like he like sleeps under the bridge because he likes the protection of the blah, blah, blah.
I think a key part of this location is that it is an old bridge that they can safely film on without a permit, but it's also right next to the road and a new bridge. Like you can see the new bridge in the background. So they don't have to go very far. Like another old bridge might be way out in the country to find that, but this one's perfect. Here is where Willie unveils his magic teleportation blocking trap. It's chicken wire. It's chicken wire wrapped around some bars that he has electrified. It's you assume all the buildup that has happened so far, you assumed, I don't know, it was something else. You assumed surely they're not going to build this one out of stolen scrap and chicken wire, but no, it's stolen scrap and chicken wire. Here's where Wild Bill says he's a lineman for a construction company. So you would think he'd be the expert in Mothman, being a lineman. You would think he'd have some sort of expertise. He has no input on any of it. He says this while he appears to have a safety line tied around his neck, like a noose. And he's on top of the bridge, like nearly about to fall and pop his own goddamn head off.
Specifically says that he is a lineman who climbs steel towers, quote, 200, 300 feet tall. So he's talking about those high-tension cross-country wires, like the ones that they have to use helicopters to service, is what he's referencing.
The most elite form of lineman is Wild Bill.
Yeah, literally making more money than all three of us combined. Like, if he actually has that job, like, he probably would not need to be on Mountain Monsters. That's not something they would just give to anybody.
Again, I don't believe him.
I was going to say, that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
He also says he works 12, 14 hours a day.
I would love if at one episode they have to swing by Wild Bill's house to pick him up, and he's just got like a freaking Lamborghini out there. He lives on 150 acres, and he's just got this giant swimming pool, and
he'd just have a Scrooge McDuck silo filled with rocks, filled with crystal meth, and he would swim around in it and spit it out of his mouth like a fountain. We did the legal disclaimer in one of the episodes. It counts. What has not been said before, and I love so much, is we're now in the night hunt, and what they're going to do with this trap is they're going to bait it with light.
Because he's fucking Moth.
He is Moth. This is brand new, too.
They have not previously. They have never once established that Mothman the Cryptid bounces off streetlights that he finds. Because
right, if this is true, then he's gonna just slam into your window at night and walk around your yard all day. You're the fucking Mothman again.
He has prior to now been portrayed as a fourth dimensional teleporting being that has the power of future sight and to manipulate reality with his mind. And also, if you show him a spotlight, not even a big one, he will mindlessly fly into it.
It's like a Mad Magazine joke suddenly.
I love it so much. So they build a runway of torches guiding him into the trap, which they spring on top of kind of above the bridge. And then they set out in their golf carts to stick some torches in the ground for a very long time. It's thrilling television. Willie, Jeff...
They did not film enough to fill an hour long. I don't know how long these episodes are. They feel extremely long. They did not shoot enough stuff. They had to include...
Tell me it was fucking Mark. Fucking Mark fucked it all up. Now they got to do fucking stick planting scene for 5 minutes. So Willie, Jeff, and Wild Bill are on one team holding the lights. Trapper, Huckleberry, and Buck are on the other. Also, they're going to do a pincer movement somehow with the lights to, like, force the Moth to go to both teams. Seems like a guaranteed way to blast each other in the dark.
This is never going to work.
Kind of
They're
their thing.
Completely confused about it. They've never run a rehearsal on this.
Buck is coughing and dizzy, and I guess that's supposed to be shorthand for the Mothman's curse instead of, like, I don't know, walking up a hill, which is what actually happened.
The symptoms of Mothman taking over your mind temporarily, actually fairly mild.
It's true.
A little bit like the flu. You got the Mothman
some
fever.
lightheadedness, some shallow coughing, and then some fatigue. But I don't even know if it's not the normal amount of fatigue.
Several types of diabetes,
the age
some heart disease.
Isn't quite right, but you should really get checked because you might not have COVID. You might have Mothman. You might have
a good point.
Mothman fever. It's a very real concern. Buck sees the eyes again, and he lets Trapper know. And he hands it over, and Trapper says, "Give the radio to Willie." And he hands it over to Willie, and Trapper says, "Okay, you hold on to that radio. Buck is going to pass out again from Mothman poisoning." like, Buck is not allowed. Buck looks really dejected, like, "Oh, I didn't know he was going to do that. You're going to take the radio away from me in case I pass out." So they do one of my favorite scenes in this show. It's going to be impossible in audio form, but they are now luring the Mothman, and what we see is kind of a small empty clearing and 3 very out of shape overweight men in full camouflage holding like tiki torches and a flashlight and just kind of silently waving them around like flag twirlers. And this scene goes on for far longer than is cool. You just watch them quietly.
That's one of the funniest things. If we could upload that clip somewhere, I don't know if we have that capability.
Lost my mind
we all of our internet abilities are stuck in the early 2000s. I don't know if we can grab that clip and embed it somehow. It is really something because they have to stretch for time. It plays for so long, and them standing there in dead silence, just waving their lights around.
And then they establish that the Mothman is here, but they can't look at his eyes, so everybody just looks at their shoes. Like, doesn't do anything. They're just like Gorgon afraid powers. To make eye contact.
Medusa powers suddenly.
They're just like, oh no, it's Mothman Medusa. Down below, the A-team sees something in thermal, and they decide it's a fire. Now Mothman has lit the fire.
Yeah, Mothman can start fires now.
can spontaneously start fires, so why the fuck does he contract it to light? So he starts a fire and then just burns himself.
Yes, he spontaneously uses telepathy to set their torches back alight after they turn them off. And also he set a small fire on the floor of the woods. He set some leaves on fire.
Now, of course, if all of this is true, he should dive into it head first, and that should be how you kill old Mothman, is you just wait for them to suicide. I like the other implication, which is that they turned off their lights and Mothman was like, aw, turn back on again.
What I like here is there's a lot of confusion. Everyone's kind of panicked. And then Trapper is like, let's light up the runway and lure him towards the trap. So during all this confusion, they're learning new powers about the Mothman. Trapper's like, all right, fuck this. Don't do anything different. Still do plan A. And so I just thought that
nothing's changed.
I thought that was pretty bold, that they're acting like they're improvising.
The fact that the Mothman can't ignite things with its mind, you would think would completely change their strategy.
Right.
But fortunately, he only chose to light their torches again, instead of, say, lighting them on fire.
Right.
Or some other quotes that have occurred at one point when coming back from a commercial recap, Buck giving an interview into camera in the middle of the Mothman attack says, "Since the 60s, there's been sightings of Mothman that's been on busy bridges, but for some reason he switched to these old abandoned bridges."
They taste better. He eats bridges now, is what I've decided. Hey, Trapper, I just said he eats bridges. Trapper's going like, what the fuck? We gotta stay on target.
And Buck, is feeling bad, so he, goes and sits in the golf cart. I thought that was really cute.
Which again, they just and looks really tired.
He's
adding stakes to this.
He hacked the show, because everybody else has to do all this walking around, but Buck's like, oh yeah, my character looked at the Mothman, so I get to take a little rest. It's kind of genius when you think about it.
He does. He gets well, we'll get to that episode. We've covered an episode where he uses this gambit again. So some of the lights go out, some don't, because Mothman is, I guess, eating the electricity. There's kind of a whale noise, which is, I guess, a Mothman.
Yeah, that's a Mothman
and
swallow.
A clank. And they run in to check the trap, and Willie starts freaking out. Up top, up top! Luckily, the cameras pivot to face Willie as the Mothman flies away. And where'd he go? Oh my god, he went straight up. And Huckleberry looks really shocked and surprised and says, that sumbitch went straight up in the air.
They almost had, God, they were so close to proof of Mothman. Just 4 degrees of camera angle away from having perfect footage of Mothman shooting straight into the night. God, so close.
They're so close to understanding, because Buck's testimonial is, we were real close to getting this thing tonight, and it's real upsetting, because you sit there and you have the proof of something everybody say doesn't exist, and then it gets away.
I have a quote from Buck here where he says, "We're always able to get to the bottom of everything else, but this is just unexplainable."
We have 4 hours of proof up to this point that no, you
They've
don't.
never learned a single thing about anything,
and have forgotten. Okay, the reason Mothman flew straight up out of that trap, something we forgot to mention, is they did not build a bottom or top to it. And one of the first things they established is that he can fly. So he just flies out the top and is like, thanks for the electricity. It was delicious.
They made an electric cannoli, and he went, maybe got inside it. We don't even know. Because, again, they didn't put a trail camera on the trap. And then he shoots into the sky. And Wild Bill says, we improvise, adapt, and overcome. But one of them almost died from looking at him. And then did it again. Another one built a trap that he could just turn off with his mind and didn't have a top. They made a lure that he reversed on them. And after all this, they refused to improve or adapt, and I would argue absolutely did not overcome. So I think Wild Bill might be wrong at some point. They did not improvise, adapt,
once again,
or overcome.
There are some listeners who think from the rhythm of the episode, okay, we're now halfway through the episode. They have failed. Now they have to change their strategy and then win. They somehow have to defeat or capture a Mothman. And no, this is the end. They're done. They will never return to this.
They sucked again. They did
They
it.
declare the problem solved and leave. And this is the thing that they, again, could easily explain if they wanted to, but they always label it like they have the first night hunt, during the next day they build their thing, and the second night hunt, they call it the final hunt, which, hunting doesn't necessarily work that way unless the hunting season is ending that day. Like, you generally are staying out there till you get something or however many days off you have from work. But here it's like, well, why was this the final night? If you're trying to catch this immortal creature that caused 9/11, why? Like, you've stumbled across the most interesting thing that anyone has
Right.
ever discovered on Earth. So it's like, why are you going back home? Because it's not like you had to fly it. It's not like you flew to Thailand to hunt this thing. It's like just down the road. It's like, why not stay and keep hunting it? And they never explain why. And they, again, could easily say, well, this is the night of September 15th. A lot of people say mid-September, he always comes around. This is when we think he returns to his home or blah, blah, blah. Like, you could establish that there's some reason why we think he will be here tomorrow night. And it's always just, no, this is the last day we're going to devote any effort to this. If he doesn't happen to show up tonight, we would just go back home. But fortunately, he always does.
I mean, you know what it is. There's a reason why they all have to be 2 days.
Mothman permits.
It's the weekend.
Right.
Trapper says, after this, there's no doubt in my mind the Mothman is a supernatural creature. Fucking, you think? Jeff says very sagely, I concur. And Huckleberry says, I'm afraid I have to agree with you.
I like how, yeah, they all agree. They decide they want to just go back to hunting things with no magical powers. It's just...
He literally, Trapper says, after this, I'm going to go chase something that walks or swims or crawls or jumps. This supernatural shit that flies around, that's bullshit. Well, we think it's total bullshit. Buck says, I think the Mothman is looking at us, and then walks away. And the camera zooms to a set of eyes atop the bridge. Well, the cameraman is right. Why would the cameraman not say
so
anything?
good. This is like if Ghostbusters stopped 20 minutes in, and one of them said, let's just go back to hunting hobos. And then it just ended.
You're right. And then they zoom to a ghost in the background, and the cameraman says
None
nothing.
of these ghost traps work, but a hammer? That'll take down a man.
That's somehow it. That's somehow the end of the best episode of this goddamn show. What's everybody's favorite quotes? Let's go with Sean first this time.
I think I like the one where Buck told everyone that they're always able to get to the bottom of everything else, but this is just unexplainable.
A bold claim backed up by 4 hours of proof up to this point. Jason, what's your favorite quote of this
At
episode?
the end, when they were all standing around basking in their failure, several guys, this is multiple people it said, next time, we'll just have to hook electric straight up to the bridge. We'll short his ass out, blow his balls off. This is above our pay grade, boss.
Imagine if they tried to electrocute. So many people would die from this plan.
Just
as you have listed.
To be clear to the listeners, when you only see them with a generator that they clamp up to the cage. They never start it. There's no demonstration of the electricity. It's just they just tell us it's electrified. No. They don't take it as far as to actually run current through that cage of aluminum fencing or whatever.
It's not like they've got a professional lineman on the job. My favorite quote of this episode is just before when they're all silently swinging their sticks up on the mountain. Wild Bill has a stick and he's waving it at nothing at the air, and he says, "Where you at, Mr. Mothman? Come get you some, bro."
And we also skipped where Wild Bill earlier, when everyone has a gun but him, they asked him, "Where's your weapon?" And Brockway, do you know what his answer was?
I am a weapon.
Yeah, I am a weapon, brother.
So good.
There have been multiple episodes where Wild Bill is the only one not carrying a gun, and I have speculated that there may be some legal reason he's not allowed. But again, just speculation. I am not accusing this man of anything.
It could just be a safety thing, too. They're his friends are just maybe we don't give you the gun after what happened to your previous 7 wives.
They did say that they've been at this for 7 years before the show started. It is very possible this crew started off with 10 people, and there's a reason Wild Bill does not get a gun anymore.
you had to be a Bigfoot teacher. You had to open up your mouth. You had to be a Bigfoot teacher. All your friends were so knocked out. You had to have the last word last night. You know what everything's about. You had to have the white hot spotlight. You had to be a Bigfoot last night. Whoa, whoa.